In the early last century, weight loss products were extremely dangerous. Pills containing dinitrophenol were sold. They prevented calories from turning into fat, but caused lethal poisoning. Evening at the Pyramids, around 1897. Belt made from human nipples, one of the horrific artifacts belonging to serial killer and necrophile Ed Gein. Men stand in line at the unemployment office hoping to get any work during the Great Depression, 1930. This is Dr. Katie Booman, the computer scientist behind the first ever image of a black hole. She developed the algorithm that turned telescopic data into the historic photo we see today. The sinking of the Lusitania, 1915. The meeting of a KKK member's child and a black state trooper, 1992. Gavrilo Princip is detained right after shooting Archduke Ferdinand, Sarajevo, 1914. A man in Durban rides a bus designated for white passengers as a protest against South Africa's apartheid policy, 1986. This shot symbolizes the dual role of the Church in the Third Reich. On one hand, many priests risked their lives to save Jews and members of the resistance. On the other hand, part of the clergy saw Hitler as the defender of Christian values against Bolshevism. John F. Kennedy, Dallas, a minute before the shots rang out, 1963. In 1907, around 1,000 women from the Baltics arrived in New York in search of husbands, inspired by rumors of a woman shortage in America. They were met by interested young men on the pier. In the 19th century, many people feared being buried alive. Until 1934, some companies produced special safety coffins equipped with means for rescue. A local entrepreneur who carried chairs on his back and rented them out for 10 cents to tired tourists. Turkey, 1920. Soviet and Polish troops liberate prisoners from the Sachsenhausen concentration camp. Germany, 1945. Segregationists harass 6-year-old Ruby Bridges with a doll in a coffin. USA, Alabama. Mass protests of the black population against white terror in September 1963. An annual horrifying festival takes place in the city of Yulin in June. The Chinese eat up to 15,000 dogs. The overall statistics are even more frightening. 4 million cats are eaten annually in China. Professional mourner, Russian Empire, Estonia, 1912. In traditional funeral rites, she was hired to lament for the deceased. A new oral X-ray device shocked everyone at the 1920 London Medical Exhibition. An American farmer demonstrates his vehicle powered by a goat running on a treadmill. The goat-mobile could reach speeds of up to 9 miles per hour. A spare goat rests on top. USA, 1900. Cat mobilization, USSR, 1942. 5,000 cats were sent to Leningrad to fight rodents and protect food supplies. Auschwitz was the deadliest of the Nazi concentration camps. Over 1.1 million people died there. Of the 7,500 camp staff responsible for these deaths, only 750 were punished. When you love baseball more than anything else, Tigers fans celebrate their World Series victory. Detroit, 1984. In case of injury or death from bombing, to identify a young lady's identity, a tattoo artist applied her social security number on one leg and her address on the other. Britain, 1942. A girl crossing the border between East and West Berlin. She made it and survived, but not everyone was so lucky. Many were shot. Later, a 4-meter-high brick Berlin Wall would be built along this drawn line. This photo is a unique piece of history. It shows Geert Adriaensz Boomgaard, the last living man who fought for French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte. Geert was born in 1788 and died in 1899 at the age of 110. In 1972, Spanish postman Gabriel March Grandos was sentenced to 384,912 years in prison, the longest sentence in history, for destroying 42,768 letters he refused to deliver. When Stalin died, the Ukrainian diaspora restaurant in Washington served free borscht, March 9, 1953. The city of Murmansk, after a German carpet bombing, USSR, 1942. 350 tons of bombs were dropped on the city in one day. Photo of total solar eclipse on July 11, 1991. Chiapas, Mexico. Dina Sanichar, a real-life Mowgli, raised by wolves and found in 1872 in the jungles of India. Maintenance of Unit 1 at the Chernobyl Nuclear Power Plant, USSR, 1980s. These frames once symbolized progress. Now, they serve as a haunting reminder of the tragedy that followed. An Australian soldier watches as a Japanese soldier prepares to detonate a grenade against his own head, choosing to go out on his own terms. New Guinea, 1942. St. Nicholas Parade in Austria. St. Nicholas rides a white horse while Krampuses warn children to behave. An Afghan war veteran cries, kneeling by a portrait of his fallen comrade, 1981. John Pemberton created Coca-Cola to wean himself off morphine. While serving in the military, Dr. Pemberton received a chest wound. To ease the pain, he took morphine. The wound healed, but his addiction to the opioid drug remained. Pemberton decided to develop a recipe for a drink based on coca leaves. Japanese machine gunners in training, 1945. The entire population of the land of the rising sun was being prepared to repel an American invasion of the Japanese islands. The winner of the Miss Nairobi Beauty Contest, Kenya, 1966. Forget about spy gadgets. In the 1960s, the CIA launched Operation Acoustic Cat. The plan was to train cats to eavesdrop on Russian conversations. The first agent cat, with a microphone in its ear, a transmitter in its collar, and an antenna implanted in its tail, was sent to position but tragically died under the wheels of a taxi. Patent sketch of toilet paper, created by inventor Seth Wheeler, 1891. Miners packed into a multi-tiered lift, Belgium, early 20th century. Known as cages, these primitive elevators descended 1,000 meters deep. Cable snaps were common, turning the crowded shaft into a deadly trap with no escape. They even carried pigeons inside, living gas detectors that would drop dead if the air turned toxic. Elite guards of the Iranian Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi in leopard skin uniforms. Iran, 1960. Leopard print was always in trend. The librarian of the National Library of Calcutta divides books between India and Pakistan after the partition in 1947. Future Cuban revolutionary leader Fidel Castro in Central Park, New York, USA. 1955. The bathing machine, a device popular in the 18th and 19th centuries for swimming at sea beaches, allowing men and women to bathe while preserving the proprieties of the time. Aftermath of the tsunami in Severokurilsk, 1952. This shot tells a story that seems like the plot of a movie, but it really happened. Pictured is Joyce McKinney, a former beauty queen and winner of the Miss Wyoming pageant in 1973 after her arrest. In 1977, she kidnapped Mormon missionary Kirk Anderson, handcuffed him, and had sex with him for 3 days. Halloween costume variety, 1930s. Turkmen girls, end of the 19th century. A woman with a portrait of her son greets the last train with former German prisoners of war from the USSR, 1955. A patient undergoing treatment for mental illness in Germany, 19th century. In 1991, the famous Colombian drug lord Pablo Escobar reached an agreement with the government. Instead of being extradited to the US, he was to serve 5 years in prison. But ordinary prison didn't satisfy him. Escobar built himself a prison of dreams with a soccer field, a large dollhouse, a bar, a jacuzzi, and even a waterfall. An ancient Greek torture involved a copper or brass bull with a hollow interior. The victim's terrible screams were amplified by the iron structure and sounded like the bull's roar. A heartbreaking scene near Svalbard, 1947. A polar bear cub clings to its lifeless mother after a hunt. The cub reportedly stayed in this position for a day and a night, crying and refusing to leave her side. Workers and 3 links of the anchor chain for the Titanic, 1910. Huge parts were handmade. The size of the ship was record-breaking for its time. After serving 14 years for robbing a bank, John Wojtowicz got a job as a security guard at the very same bank. The inscription on his t-shirt reads, "I robbed this bank." A German soldier gives bread to a Russian orphan boy, 1942. This blonde, blue-eyed child was spared, but tragically, another boy nearby, dark-haired and swarthy, was treated with brutal cruelty by the very same soldiers. In July 1984, 41-year-old James Oliver Huberty told his wife he likely had a mental problem. He tried to make an appointment at a neurotic clinic but received no callback. Later, he told his wife he was going hunting for people, drove to the nearest McDonald's, and began methodically shooting the patrons and employees. In 77 minutes, until he was shot by a sniper, Huberty killed 21 people and wounded 19. A segregationist rally in the US, 1961. The crowd chants slogans claiming that racial integration is a form of communism. Marie Curie, the first woman to win the Nobel Prize in her laboratory in Paris, 1912. Hennessy Cognac Tasters, 1952. Santa Claus spotted during the Croatian War of Independence, 1991. A Uchlan, a member of the light cavalry of Kaiser's Germany at the dawn of the end of this branch of the army, 1914. Professional silent mourners attended the funerals of any wealthy deceased in Victorian England, 1896. Their duties were simple: to silently and sorrowfully stand at the entrance to the house, holding a staff with a bow. Passers-by, seeing the silent mourners, would be overcome with the somber atmosphere of the funeral. Officers of the Titanic before its departure, 1912. Breakup letter from Tupac to Madonna in 1995, written while in Rikers Island prison. He admits that being in a relationship with a white woman could hurt his reputation among fans. Plymouth, Massachusetts police officers salute their service dog Kaiser as he is led to the vet clinic for euthanasia. Inside the fuselage of a Handley Page Halifax heavy bomber after a combat mission, England, 1942. The monsters one can encounter in the remote corners of our planet. A giant man-eating crocodile, 29.5 feet long, shot by hunters in Australia, 1957. Exhibition by Kazimir Malevich, 1915. 18-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger with his classmate, 1965. The absurd death of American dancer Isadora Duncan. Her scarf got caught in the rear wheel of a car, instantly breaking her neck. Nice, September 14th, 1927. In 1985, a functioning, unmarked plane with the remains of 18 people in military uniforms was found in the wilderness. The examination showed they had died a year earlier, and all case files were classified. There are theories that Hitler escaped. According to the most popular, he and Eva Braun left doubles behind and hid in South America, where they lived to old age under false names. The photo allegedly captures a 75-year-old Hitler. The first cryopreservation of a human being, USA, 1967. Humanity had long sought a way to immortality, and in the progressive 1960s, it created the technology to freeze a deceased person in hopes of preventing decomposition, with the hope of reviving them in the future. The first person to undergo cryopreservation was James Bedford, who died in 1967 at the age of 73. Acoustic locators from World War I, 1917 to 1940. The wives of astronauts involved in Apollo 8 hearing their husbands' voices while they were in orbit, 1968. An animal with an IQ comparable to a human's, Coco the gorilla. She knew over 1,000 sign language signs and could understand around 2,000 English words. Coco could describe her feelings, curse, and joke. For example, once she jokingly called herself a good bird, saying she could fly, but later admitted it was just for fun. She passed away in the morning of 2018. Bronze memorial to 82 children, killed in the village of Lidice, former Czechoslovakia, now the Czech Republic. 42 girls and 40 boys died in a gas chamber in Chełmno, the first German death camp designed specifically for mass killings. Smiling gangster Charlie Berger before execution, Benton, 1928. It used to be easy to buy things now banned by law. The photo shows women buying cocaine on the streets of Berlin, Germany, 1929. A nightclub in Paris where everyone chooses the music they want to dance to by tuning it in their headphones, 1963. School children hide under desks. During training on how to act during an enemy air raid, USA, 1942. A shaman healer and his medicines, Ghana, 1899. Mothers with children in artificial respirators designed for protection against chemical attacks, Great Britain, 1939. Camels against the backdrop of burning oil fields, the Gulf War, all because of money, Iraq, 1991. A sailor requests an extraordinary discharge, 1967. Staff of the Disney Film Company during their lunch break, 1961. Egyptians watching the airship Graf Zeppelin flying over the pyramids of Giza, 1931. Giant manta ray caught off the coast of Karachi, India, 1933. These sea creatures can reach 9 meters in width and weigh up to 3 tons. Children protest against daylight saving time. It's unfair. They could have played for another hour. New York, USA, 1939. King Alexander I of Yugoslavia refused to participate in any public events on Tuesdays, as 3 members of his family died on that day of the week. Eventually, he decided to put an end to this silly superstition. On one Tuesday, he made an official visit to Marseille and was shot by a terrorist. Japanese children enjoying fresh snow, 1950s. A penguin concert during Shackleton's expedition, Ross Ice Shelf, Antarctica, summer 1908. The paradox was that the penguins only reacted to classical music. 1900s jazz did not interest them. The birds reacted most keenly to the violin. A working woman from a textile plant confronts police during a labor dispute over the closure of the factory. Spain, 1986. Mass initiation ceremony into the Ku Klux Klan, 1946. Although the organization was banned in 1871, it exists to this day. Ian McKellen and Christopher Lee backstage at The Lord of the Rings, 2001. The next European war will start in Ukraine. A map published in the Look magazine, USA, March 14, 1939. A couple at a fair in Mexico, 1940. Whether this clip sparked joy, anger, or just a bit of annoyance, I want to hear your thoughts below. Stick around for part 2 coming soon. Please hit like and subscribe to support the channel. See you.